Hey everybody, just thought I would come on and do a quick intro as I start my day. So my name is Amber Kindler and I am a copywriter and director of marketing. I joined Michaela's course almost 3 years ago, which is completely insane to me. In November of 2019, I was pregnant with my first baby. I was teaching. I was in my fourth year of teaching. I was teaching kindergarten. I had just gotten my master's in educational administration, but I always knew that when I had babies, I wanted to be able to stay home with them. My husband and I, we farm and ranch. And so with that lifestyle, I just knew that I wanted to be here, be able to help him, and be able to raise our kids in this lifestyle and not have to rush around with school and daycare and all the things. So I actually learned about Michaela's course from a friend of mine who also had a similar lifestyle as me. She was a ranch wife and lived in a small town just like me. We live in the country. We're like an hour from the closest Target, so we are in the middle of nowhere, but absolutely love it. Would not change that for a thing. And so when she told me about this, I literally had no idea what freelancing was, had never heard of it before. I had been in a direct marketing company. So I had learned about social media and things like that. So I was like, you know what? This sounds like something I could totally do. I have always loved writing. That's always been a strong suit of mine. I had learned some marketing and social media through that company. And so I decided to look into it. I binge listened to the podcast. I did the free training. I took the free workshop, checked out all of Michaela's free resources, and my husband encouraged me to do it. So I purchased the course November of 2019 and binged that as well. I made it through the course in just under a month, and it was just this opportunity that I could not get enough of. I'm very Enneagram 3, very much just want to achieve. And what was frustrating about being a teacher and being in my direct selling company is I always felt like my income was capped. And it was frustrating to me because I'm a hard worker. It was frustrating that even though I could work and work and work, my income just never seemed to match the efforts that I put in. So this was a very exciting opportunity for me. So I dove in, I started applying for jobs right away, and I ended up landing my first job right before Christmas. So I wasn't even fully through the course yet, so I kind of just learned and implemented as I went. But landed my first client right before Christmas, and then I landed a couple more right after the first of the year. So by the end of January of 2020, I had already made the decision that I was going to resign. My husband and I had talked. I hadn't matched my income yet, but I knew that by August, when my contract was up with teaching, I knew I could get there. So I went ahead and put in my resignation at the end of January in 2020. Then, of course, fast forward, the world shuts down in March. I have my son in April. And so it was just nice knowing that I had this career and that I was going to be done teaching. It was so nice having all of those decisions kind of made before the world shut down. So the summer of 2020, I really, really dove into landing clients and growing my business. So by the time I was a year into my business, I had 3 to 4 times my teaching salary, which was completely insane to me. So I didn't do any of that with a website. I still don't have a website. I literally just followed Michaela's advice for applying on Facebook groups, reaching out, cold pitching, referrals, and then the network of women inside this community was a huge one for me. I've made so many great friends and connections that have helped refer or connect me to other positions, which is really neat. And then I have been able to help some of my own personal friends get started with the course so that they could stay home from their jobs and raise their babies as well, which is just super, super neat to me. So over the last few years, I've definitely had like the ups and downs. I've had the ups where I had far too many clients to manage on my own. I don't have a team. It's just me. And I did make the mistake. I don't know if I'll call it a mistake. I've definitely learned. I do not like to ask for help. It's very hard for me to admit when I'm stressed or when I need help. So for the first 2 years of my business, I did not have any daycare. I never asked for help with my kids until last year. I just had my baby girl in May this year. So last year when I was pregnant and prepping for maternity leave, I was working double time so that I could take a few months off. And so that's when I finally decided to ask for help twice a week. My mom watches my son Judd so that I can get some work done, which has been a game changer. I should not have waited that long. But that's been a game changer. So I've definitely had those highs of having too many clients and feeling overwhelmed and stressed, and finally asking for help when I needed it most. And I've really honed in on the things that I love to do. So I'm an Enneagram 3. Like I said, I'm an achiever, but I also, like, when an opportunity comes, like, it's so hard for me to say no to it or not apply for it. And I've really had to, like, get real with myself and hone in on the things that I love to do. So copywriting and marketing is what I love to do. I love strategizing and writing blog posts and writing emails and strategically, like, figuring out email funnels and things like that. That's really my sweet spot. And so I've had to let go of some clients, not because it wasn't a great working relationship. I can honestly say all of my client relationships have been amazing, but I've really had to hone in on, you know, what can I handle in this season of life and still be a present mom? And what things do I love to do? If it's not lighting me up anymore, I'm letting go of it. That's my motto for 2022. But like I said, I just had my daughter Joanna in May. So now I've got 2 kids, 2.5 and under. I do have help twice a week. My mom takes my son Judd. She also watches my nephew, and they're like a year apart. So I get to play twice a week. It's great. Joanna stays home with me. So that's just kind of been what's working for us right now. So just wanted to give you a little bit of background on how I got started, but I could not recommend Kayla's course more. I connected with her immediately because she's just so real. She's a mom. She was a teacher. And I thought to myself, if she can do this, so can I. So totally connected with her on that. But like I said, just wanted to give you a little backstory on who I am and how I got started. And I will take you through my day today. So up today, I've got some client work, a client meeting, and prepping a little bit ahead for today because tomorrow my daughter has her 4-month doctor's appointment. So working a little bit ahead today since I'll be out tomorrow because we're going to have girls' day. Her and I are going to go to her appointment, do the Target run, all the things. So I will take you along. And if you have any questions, just drop them here and I would be happy to answer. Who's awake? Hi, sweet girl. What you doing? This is Joanna. Like I said, she's 4.5 months old. She is a pretty stinking chill baby, thankfully. She's a pretty good sleeper. So mom gets a good chunk of work time in the morning. She wakes up usually about 5:30. So I'll feed her and put her back to bed. But now you're awake. You're ready for your second breakfast. And then we'll have a little bit of playtime before I dive in and do kind of like my mid-morning chunk of work. All right, so we are just coming out for a little bit of fresh air this morning before it gets hot. We are in north central Kansas, right on the Nebraska state line. And it's going to be 100 degrees today in September. This Thursday is fall, so hoping for some cooler weather, but we're gonna catch some fresh air before it is super hot. As you can see, we've got harvest happening in the background. So this is a super busy time for our family with cattle and farming. So it's definitely a season of going with the flow as a work-at-home mom and wife to a husband that is constantly busy. Okay, so while we're outside, I thought I would tell you a little bit about the clients that I have and the work that I do. So like I said, I've niched down and really figured out the services that I love to offer. And in the beginning of my business, my ideal client was teachers pay teachers sellers because I was a teacher and I really connected with them. And while those are still definitely ideal clients of mine, I've really kind of figured out that my ideal client is just female business owners that are making an impact on the world in a variety of ways. And so I do have 2 clients that are teachers pay teachers, sellers and entrepreneurs. And then I have another client who is an agency. So within that business, I get to work with a ton of other clients that are female coaches, business owners, entrepreneurs in a variety of different areas, which I really enjoy. But I really enjoy the agency model just because it's something new every day. It's a different client, it's different work, it's different tasks, it's different styles of writing. So it really keeps me on my toes, which I love, and challenges me in new ways. So I've learned a lot through that and have realized that that's something that I really, really enjoy. And so that is my 3rd client. And then my 4th client is, it's a painting company. So I actually connected with one of the owners through OTO. Her and her husband run that business together. So, I do freelance copywriting for them on their website. So those are my 4 clients and just a breakdown of what that looks like. Okay, so let's talk office space. I do have an office. I rarely work in it. I worked in it a lot more before Joanna was born, but since she has been born, I work a lot from the couch, the floor, and really anywhere and everywhere. So in the morning, mid-morning when she's awake, after we've done some like one-on-one play, I'll put her on her little play mat and just sit next to her on the floor and do a little bit of work. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm working on a blog post for one of my clients and a corresponding email. So it usually takes me about 30-45 minutes. So we'll just sit on the floor and I will work until she gets bored with that. But I'm trying to get the blog post knocked out before my call in about an hour. We are prepping for client meeting. Thankfully, all of my clients are very welcoming for little helpers to join. So just scarfing some lunch before I jump on. All right, so my client meeting is done. We meet once a month to kind of plan out our content strategy for the month. So met with her. And I have Joanna down for her afternoon nap. We are still in the phase of like every single week is different, but this week she's been taking a really good afternoon nap in her room for a couple of hours. So I'm gonna go get a quick workout in and then see how much work I can get done before she wakes up. And then we'll probably wrap up my day. Judd will be home between 4:30 and 5. So I always try to be done working by the time he's home on daycare days, or grandma care days, if you will. I jinxed myself when I said that she's been taking 2-hour naps in her bed in the afternoons. I jinxed myself. So halfway through my workout, she needed snuggles, but we will adapt and overcome, right, moms? One last thing I was going to say. So a big reason why I chose to stay home and pursue this career is just the time and schedule freedom it gave me. So with my husband's job, the hours are very crazy and long most of the time. And so I knew that if I was going to be a teacher and do the 9-to-5 hustle, we would never be able to see him. And so it's nice because if he's doing something that we can come help him with or ride along, we can take off in the middle of the day and do that. And that gives us more family time than just at night, because sometimes, you know, they're in bed before he gets home, especially during busy season. So that was something very important to us. And so it gives us more family time and time to spend together, just with the flexibility, which I absolutely love. Big brother's home. Say hi. So on the days that Judd goes to daycare, he doesn't typically nap because him and my nephew play so hard that they don't nap. So I typically let him come home and watch an episode of Curious George or something, just to kind of wind down, and then get him set up with some toys. Hopefully get her set up in her little play table so that I can get supper started, do dishes, all that fun stuff. and I typically turn on a podcast so I can do a little personal development while I do that. So I'm going to listen to Michaela's podcast today, and then we'll clean up the kitchen, and hopefully my husband will not be too late tonight, and we'll do bath time, bedtime routine, and all the things. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Let me know if you have any questions about copywriting, marketing, or being a work-at-home mom with 2 kids, with one at home with you all the time.